What do you say? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Hockey World Order. This is Fan Since 72, along with Fan Since 80. We are here for episode 2 of the Fans of the Orange and Blue podcast. I'm Dave. He's Steve. We are the Fernandez brothers, and here we go. So let's address the elephant in the room. We were supposed to go public at 8:30 last Tuesday due to some gremlins in the system, which happens when you're brand new trying to get things worked out. Did not exactly happen as planned. It could not figure out a couple of glitches there with YouTube and uploading the episode. That's what happens when you are sitting in New York and everybody else in the Hockey World Order is all over the country. Our producer was actually in Nashville, and we had some communications and some posting problems, so it took a little while. So for those of you who stuck it out to wait for the inaugural posting of the initial show, thank you very much for doing so. It was very, very, very much welcome, and we do appreciate it. Um, so let's talk a little bit about last week's show. I think it went really well. The comments were appreciated by everybody there that did so, and the guys that waited. So, Steve, what did you think about last week's show?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first time. I think it might have looked kind of obvious it was my first time. I was a little nervous behind the camera here. Although other people were saying that I guess I looked kind of comfortable. So thank you even for that comment as well. So, yeah, I mean, it was the first show, so it's let's we're looking for that niche and we're looking for that thing. So we'll get it. We'll get it. I feel it might even take as long as the season to start, but we'll we'll we're gonna get our groove. Yeah, I can feel it. We're very passionate about Islanders hockey, so of course, we'll catch that groove.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So just to keep the ball rolling, and move forward with what we're going to talk about. None of you guys listen. You gotta like, subscribe, and follow, and you gotta comment because if you don't comment and give us topics to talk about that you want to hear about, we're gonna start talking about things that we want to talk about. And we can talk Islander hockey all day, but we like to talk about things that you guys want to talk about. But today, I think we might have a topic, two topics actually, that are ones that might interest the fan base and figure out what's going on. So let's talk about the projected lines for 26, 27. The Islanders' projected lines right now are pretty much, there is not a lot of flexibility here. If Cole Eiserman or Victor Eklund are going to break this lineup, it's going to be difficult. But the one thing we'll talk about the lines themselves, and then I'm going to talk about a quirk that both Steve and I noticed in the contracts for the Islanders for the next year that really make it very interesting. They throw back to what we were talking about on our last show about Matthew Darsh's plan, because when you look at this roster after we talk about it and what it's going to look like at the end of this season, and what the holes are going to be at the end of this season, your perspective might change a little bit on what Matthew Darsh has been trying to set himself up to do. So let's take a look. So right now it's projected that our first line will be Horvat centering Holmstrom and Palmieri, which would, if those guys are healthy, and that would be an amazing click. I think they had some good chemistry last year when they did get to play together. Um, the second line would be Barzell centering Shen and Ritchie. I'm interested to see that one because it's a throwback to Barzell and Lee. And if Shen's going to take the Lee role, the problem is that Barzell was playing wing on that line. And so it was kind of, and Lee was the one that was clogging the middle. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Shen is being listed as the left wing and Barzell is the center and Ritchie's the right wing. So that's going to be an interesting one. So, and then the third line is Pajot with Michelli and Heineman. Um, Michelli is a wild card. Heineman, can he have the same kind of season he did last year? We'll find out. And then the last line, the fourth line, which used to be the Islanders' identity line, which I think right now is the Islanders' needs an identity line, is Cizikas centering Palat and Duclair. On defense, the six defenders as projected are going to be Schaefer and Pulak as the top pair, Pellick and D'Angelo as the second pair, Romanov and Mayfield as the third pair. And then our goalie situation, hopefully Varley is healthy and he can be the backup. It'll be Sorokin and Varlamov. If not, it would be Sorokin and Vanacek, who we picked up from the Utah Mammoth. So, Steve, what are your initial thoughts on the lines? And then we'll talk about the quirk that we found.
Um, the lines definitely sound good, but you know, you could see, you know, you can see in that fourth line, like you said, that fourth line is the one that's probably we might see some movement and some rotations back and forth with Hamilton. Um, uh, I kind of agree with you about the Barzell line with Shen, but now remember we talked about very briefly last show where Shen was being a real good mentor to Richie. So like with the keeping those two together, especially is a very 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 big thing. And then you know who knows? Maybe Shen, if Barzell does get that A that we really hope that he gets, Shen can kind of give him that nudge to keep going in the right direction in that aspect too. So you know. Um, but yeah, the other lines they look like they'd probably be pretty solid that way. Um, they've been together for a while, a couple of them. So you know, yeah, like let's get into that next part of the topic because that next part of the topic is going to make some people really start
Well,
thinking.
I mean, look, here's the thing. When you look at the lines that I just read out, there's not a lot of change from last year in terms of personnel. I mean, the only person that's really being added into this mix is Michelli, and in the top forwards in the top 12. So Palmieri's coming back from injury. Can he play? Can he be up to snuff? Can he do that? What he needs to do? We'll see. Will Palat and Duclair actually have a pulse? I mean, I think the key here, and you hit it on the head, is those two guys uh, are the key to what the fourth line is going to look like. Are they going to be kids from Hamilton, or are these guys going to be playing? Now, Palat, and then you have Michelli coming in and filling a role on the third line, which is where I expected him to be. I really thought he was not really a top six forward. I think he was a bottom six forward, and putting him on the line with Pajot and Heineman probably could produce some interesting results. If we get the production out of Michelli that he brought to Toronto, that'll be a nice infusion because it was something that we were missing kind of on the third line in terms of consistent scoring, right? Um,
Mhm.
but let's look at it. The quirk that we found was looking at the contracts for these guys. And I think it's kind of telling in Matthew Darsh's game plan. When you look at this from the perspective of what the contracts are for these guys, all of a sudden, the 1 year contracts and some of the things that he's been saying make sense. And, as fans, we don't typically think about it that way. We think about it emotionally. We're like, we like this guy. We want him to be a player for us forever. He's really good. We really don't take into consideration, A, how much money he's making, and B, how long he's really here for. I mean, this is a business and these guys come and go. The only thing that doesn't change is the crest on the front of the jersey. The names on the back of the jersey are the ones that always change, right? So looking at these contracts, it's kind of interesting. Now, some of these guys, regardless of what I'm about to say, are no-brainer re-signs, right? We'll talk about those. But some of them, they're not. And, maybe there's some method to Darsh's madness. So on our
Mhm.
top line right now, Horvat, Palmieri, and Holmstrom. Holmstrom's on the last year of his RFA and last year of his contract, and he's going to be an RFA at the end of this year. Um, Horvat is halfway through his 8 year contract. This is year 4 of his 8 year contract. And Palmieri right now is at the last year of his contract, and he's a unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. So the top line right there, we got to re-sign 2 of those guys, right? Um,
Right.
Holmstrom is probably a no-brainer. Okay, so Holmstrom is going to get re-signed, but Palmieri, if Palmieri is showing his age and he's not really healthy and he's not going to be doing his thing, and he's not, we have 1 year at $4.75 million of Palmieri left, and then he could be gone, and there's 4.75 more to the cap towards getting another player, right? Um, Now I love Palmieri. I think he brings a lot of spark and energy to the team. So I'm hoping that he comes and he earns another contract with this team. I think he and finishes his career on the island would be awesome. But we shall see. But he's in the last year of his contract, and he is a possible off the books kind of guy. The second line is interesting as well. Shen is in year 7 of 8 of his contract, and that means he's got this year and next year with us. So he's a 2-year player, and that gives us the opportunity to see whether or not he is Anders Lee 2.0 or not. Barzell is only halfway through his contract. He's year 4 of 8 of his contract. But he's a no-brainer anyway, right? He's kind of one of the cornerstones of this franchise. Richie is on year 2 of 3 of his initial contract when then he would become an RFA. So we still have him under contract for 2 years, which is ironic because when you think about it, Richie, and we were just talking about it, Richie and Shen, right? If they're going to be a mentor-mentee relationship, there you go. You got 2 years of bending this kid's ear. So that could be a good thing.
Mhm.
Our third line is kind of really interesting because it is really in flux. Michelli's on a 1-year contract. He's a do or die kind of guy. If he earns his right, he's going to stay. Pajot is in year 1 of 3 of his contract extension, and we know that Darsh loves him, and he's probably going to be that third line center as long as he wants, as long as he's productive. But Heineman is on the last year of his contract, and he's an RFA at the end of this year. So our third line has two plot spots, right? Two spots that could be flipped at the end of this year, which is more flexibility between those two guys. That's $3.35 million between Michelli and Heineman. There's another 3 to add to the other. So now we're talking 7. We're almost at $8 million in contract that's going to be coming free at the end of the year, right? The fourth line is where some of our guys are going to say, "Oh, look at this." Well, Palat's in the last year of his contract. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. If he doesn't produce, he's going to be gone like the wind. I don't think anybody in this team, anybody in the franchise, or any of the fans are going to be upset if he's not doesn't step up and produce. Cizikas is in the last year of his contract, and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. He is an interesting case because he's been a lifelong Islander. He's been great for the team. He's been the spark plug of the identity line for many, many years. But we all have to be realistic. If we thought Anders Lee was losing it and a step behind when at the end of last year, and we weren't really that sad to see him go, and we were glad that he got his term, uh, Casey's in the same boat. And Casey, if it comes down to term and money, I think Casey's going to be another one of those guys who might be playing the fourth line in Utah next year. Anthony Duclair is in the third year of his 4-year contract, so we have him for 2, and he is a pretty big hit. He's a $3.5 million hit, so he needs to demonstrate his worth to the team right now. He needs to step up and play. And but those are our top. That's our 4 lines. Those are our top guys. We got a lot of contracts coming up at the end of this year. What are you thinking about that, Steve? Do you think that this was Matthew Darsh looked at the spreadsheet and said, "I just got to make it through 26, 27, and then I'm going to be able to go to the candy store and start buying some good stuff." What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. The he's going to ride this wave out. He's going to see how these guys play. He might behind the scenes be turning some of their screws, saying, "Hey, you guys, if you don't produce, you're gonna see the door." Um, and like we said earlier, also, we know what he was doing down there in Tampa, so he knows what he's doing. This year is going to be that year where we kind of just see what we can do, what we got. Um, so I just want to like quickly say something about Casey. Like Casey, yes, we all love him so much. Maybe he needs to finish the identity line in the office. We got Martin and Clutter there in the office, and they're doing some amazing things, and we love their little short videos that they're doing. I think they
That's
need
pretty
Casey
funny,
to
but yeah.
join them. So, you know, uh, because Casey's not going anywhere. He's deeply rooted now here on Long Island, and we love to see him. And of course, we love to see him on the ice. But he it might be time for him to join Clutter and Martin in the office, um, and then yeah,
I
get these
hear you.
kids
I hear
up.
you. I hear you. So yeah, no, I hear you. You got a point. And then looking at our defense, I mean, we're looking at the contracts of our defense, right? We have the albatross in the room with Casey, with Matthew Schaefer. Matthew Schaefer is going to cost this franchise a fortune, rightfully so, when his entry level is up, and he's in year 2 of 3 of that. So we have 2 more years of the bargain basement, Matthew Schaefer. And hopefully that they do the right thing and re-sign him to an extension before that becomes a question. But between that and Pulak is in year 5 of 8 of his contracts. We've got him for quite a while. Pelech is in year 6 of 8 of his contract. We have him for a little while. D'Angelo is on a 2-year deal, which was agreed to this year and well welcomed by the fan base. I think he's going to be a good play in here. Does he earn his right to stay for longer than that? We shall see. Romanov we know he's on a long-term deal. He's only on year 2 of 8 on his deal, so we have him for quite a while. And Mayfield is on year 4 of 7 of his. So even our back six, right, are really, really, really locked in for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see how and if those guys play themselves out in terms of filling in and earning their keep for longer contract extensions. But in that same vein, when you look at our who's our reserves are all at the end of their contracts. McLean is on year three of 3 of his. He's going to be a UFA at the end of the year. Isaiah George, believe it or not, is at the end of his contract. He's playing the contract year 3 of 3 for him, but he's only an RFA at the end of this year. And then between Vanacek and Varlamov, who are backups, both of them are on are expiring contracts. Both of them are on expiring contracts. So we're not married to anybody behind Ilya Sorokin after this year, which is kind of an interesting take, considering they just signed the kid Tikkanen to a contract, and they have Kotai, who's going to be down in Hamilton playing for the Hammers. So, and then of course we got the albatross, which is Pierre Engvall, who's only on year 4 of 7. And he's going to have to demonstrate his worth. Otherwise, he's going to spend his entire time playing for the Hammers. So I think Matthew Darsh might have something here. I think he saw the spreadsheet and he's like, okay, guys. And I think you're right, Steve. He's going to say, hey, you guys have contracts coming up. You want to stay on this team? Let's see what you got. Bring it to the table. Let's go. And if that happens, my projections from last show where I said they probably don't make the playoffs, maybe they do, but I still stand firm on the fact that this team does not possess the overwhelming scoring strength that they need. They need to demonstrate improvements, huge improvements on their power play and their penalty kill. The penalty kill was decent. It was in the top 10. It was floating around the top 10 most of the year. It was either 10th or 8th or 12th. I mean, it was a decent penalty kill. So that was recovered from the year before, which was just atrocious. But the power play has been just abysmal for multiple years now. And when you look at what the projections are for Power Play 1 and Power Play 2, they look the same. I mean, Power Play 1 is projected to be Horvat, Barzell, Heineman, Schaefer, and Palmieri. Okay. Palmieri got hurt, so he was out, and so that kind of mixed up the Power Play 1. Was our power play productive when Palmieri was here? Not really. I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't blowing the doors off anybody. Power Play 2 is an interesting mix, and I almost think that this might get shuffled around because the way they're projecting Power Play 2 to be is Schenn with Ritchie and Holmstrom and Michelli and D'Angelo. Interesting thought process there as to whether or not that's going to work. So anyway, what are your thoughts on A, the contracts, right? And B, what we're seeing with respect to possible lineups?
Well, I kind of touched on what I thought about the contracts just before, like by saying like, hey, these guys, okay, yeah, you're at the end. You're at the end of the of your line, and let's see what you could do for us. Otherwise, we're gonna move you out, or so if they want to stay here on Long Island, they're gonna have to step up. So and and those protected lines, just the power play. I don't understand the talent that those two power play lines have. Why they're not producing? Why it doesn't get a result? I don't know if it's just the hockey gods that need to finally give them a little tip and then they can go, because the talent that's on those
You
power
want you
play
want the
lines.
answer to that question?
Yeah, I
You want
do.
the answer to that question?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I
going to
do.
say.
Uh, I think so.
Shoot the puck.
Okay, yeah, like the whole arena
So
streams
just
all
so
the
just for
time.
perspective, when the Islanders have a power play at UBS Arena, in my section, I sit in section 109. We do the in the box thing. Where is he in the box? In the box, right? We do that.
Yeah,
We at the end of the season we're going. We decline because we didn't want the power play because
yeah.
but we have three guys in our section, okay, and this is their jobs. One guy goes circle, circle, circle. He just yells circle because that's what Barzell's doing. He's circling, circling, And the other one's going pass, 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 and then we count the number of passes, pass, and then it's like um we go to then we say shoot it, shoot the puck, shoot the. I mean, it's hilarious. If anybody ever catches a game where we are in the UBS arena and you come by section 109 during the power play, that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear a bunch of people going circle, circle, pass it, pass it, pass. Yeah, we got it. It got to the point where section 110 and 108 were actually doing it with us, so it was ridiculous. But that's
Yeah,
because
like
they don't shoot,
I'm
man. You
I'm actually the guy also in my section where a lot of times when people are going shoot, I'm going pass, and then the people are looking at me, and I'm like, well, at least they're listening to me. They're not listening to you. So everybody starts laughing. I'm like, see, they passed it again, pass. So yes, they need to
exactly,
shoot. I
exactly,
mean,
exactly.
being hockey players, we do know, we understand what they're passing for. They're looking for that right line, but it seems like they're looking for the perfect line every single time. At this point, they need to shoot so that there may be the rebound or some type of deflection because they're
Dirty
just not
areas. You
shooting
got to
at
get in
all,
the
and
dirty
they're
areas.
not.
You got to do the butchie. You got to get in the dirty areas and muck around. But that's what they
Yeah.
don't do.
So
Yeah, I
so
get it.
I had to say that just in case somebody wanted to comment saying, you guys don't know. Yes, we play hockey, so we know what they're looking for, but it's like, listen, guys, you're never gonna find it
Right.
at the point that the way that the Islanders are playing because they
Every
just
team in the NHL does the bump play. Every team in the NHL runs the bumper. Every team in the NHL runs the Ovechkin. Okay, we all know what we're talking about when we say the Ovechkin. Everybody runs the
yeah.
Ovechkin and everybody runs the bumper play. The difference between the teams that are successful at it, the teams that are not successful at it, is if you're going to run the bumper play, you're going to go pass, 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 shoot. You're not going to go pass, 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 and then by the time you figured it out, everybody's boxed into in front of the goalie, and there's no place to shoot. Okay, that's what happens when you pass too much. You got to move the puck quickly, and you got to put it in the position, and you got to let it rip. And sometimes it's going to be a good shot, sometimes it's not going to be a good shot, but it's got to get there. And if you've got Shen in front of the goal, or you've got Horvat in front of the goal, whoever it is in the bumper position, they should be there to catch a rebound and stuff it in. That's what they're for. That's what it is. Okay. These guys don't do that. They are looking for the clean tape to tape pass. The best run of power play that we had was when Cal Ritchie decided to go low point, okay, behind the net, and he would catch a pass from Barzell and he would bump that pass like one time that pass right to the middle to Horvat, and Horvat would have shots. And that's when they started scoring some goals. They had a little bit of a run there where the power play started to score. We're like, oh my God, they're coming back. And then all of a sudden they went back to the way they were doing it before. And I was like, what are you guys doing? So we've done it enough to know, and when we both sit behind the net, so we see them setting up. We know what they're trying to do. They're just not executing it quickly enough, and they're not firing at the goal. And that's what they have to do. They have to fire at the goal. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on to the next topic because time is flying in this show. Um, I wanted to talk about the kids. I mean, when you look at the minors, we've got some interesting guys that are under contract, and some of them are on very short-term contracts, which means that they're either going to produce this year or and get signed by the big club or get extensions, or they're going to be moved. Because when you look at our forward lines that are in the minors right now, you got Chafee, he's on a one-year contract. Eklund is on the first year of his 3-year contract before he's an RFA. Yzerman's on the first year of his contract before he becomes an RFA. Foudy is on a 1-year contract, and then he's a UFA. So if he's been pretty decent down in Bridgeport, now Hamilton. If he doesn't produce this year, he's probably going to end up going away. The one that interests me is Prokhorov. He just signed. He's on year one of a 3-year contract, and I think he's going to come over and play in Hamilton this year as opposed to staying over in the KHL. And when he was here for the blue and white scrimmage, he is a character, man. He learned how to speak English. He was ripping it up. He was cracking everybody up, and he's a big dude, man. He's just huge. I'm actually really psyched to see what he can do. He's a right winger. If Palmieri retires, or if Palat retires, or these, or yeah, he could be a force. Um, Finley's on the first year of a 2-year contract at left wing. This kid Nurmi, who played in the OHL last year, he's on the second year of his RFA, so I'm sure he's probably going to go back down to the OHL. If not, he'd probably be in Hamilton. Jeffries is on a 1-year deal. Kefler's on for the second year, one of a 2-year contract. Vermeyev, who was also at the Blue and White, put on a show at the Blue and White scrimmage if you were there. He's at the end of his contract. This is year 2 of 2 for him. And then he becomes an RFA. So he's either going to get signed to an extension, stay in the minors for a while, or he may be a trade chip for down the road. But he's definitely got some value and could produce something there. Joey Larson's on year 1 of 2 of you, and then he's a UFA. Luff is on a 1-year contract, and then on defense, the big dog Aitchison is on the first year of his contract, and I'm sure he's going to be playing in Hamilton. He's going to come out from the OHL and be there. He probably will be the first go-to on the defensive side, even though we have Warren, who played last year, um, who's on a 1-year deal. So if Warren, can demonstrate some value, we know that he has NHL capabilities because he did come up and play. Odelius is on the last year of his contract. He's been a Bridgeport. He's been an AHL guy the entire time. I'm sure that's probably what he's going to say. Same with Pulkkinen and Bear. Those two guys, all those guys I just mentioned, are in the last years of their contracts. So, and then we have the two goalies, Tikkanen and Kotai. Tikkanen we just signed. He's on a 1-year deal. So like I said, we're not married to our goalkeepers, our backups. They have to produce, and if they produce, they're going to get to be able to stay. So it's interesting mix, right, Steve? I think that when you look at it, that tells a lot about the Matthew Darsh plan, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is this is actually an area. We talked a little bit privately about this. This is definitely a more of an area of your strengths. I can see it in all the background guys, and lucky for you that you were actually able to go to those blue and white scrimmages. I was not able to attend. I mean, I am a season ticket holder, but I couldn't fit it into my schedule. But you know it's good to know, and then and thankfully I do have you there to to fill me up and to give me that background and of course give give everybody that's watching that background information about these guys, like, because everybody keeps saying the Islanders aren't doing anything. What are the Islanders doing? Well, we yes they are doing stuff. It's it's behind the scenes, and they're trying to build something, and when it pops up, you know I and everybody else really hopes that it's going to be a good surprise. So,
There you go.
you know,
So we got like a minute and a half left here. So I'm gonna to just do our plugs, okay? Um,
okay.
these shows fly so fast. We may need to go to a longer format, but we'll see. So listen, guys, Hockey World Order. Subscribe on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Uh, you'll be notified when the shows are going to get posted. I'm guarantee you that next year that this show will be up on time. I'm going to hold my head. And like, subscribe, and follow us. Comment on our shows. Give us some topic conversations. We're going to talk about what we are going to talk about next week, probably. And I'm thinking that we are looking at, will Patrick Laine be given a PTO, and will he come to the island and try to make the team if he doesn't get a contract offer? That would make for an interesting conversation. Our personal Mount Rushmores of the New York Islanders, who would be the 4 players that would be up there. We all have our ideas on what generations they would be, and we'll go from there. So, Steve, thank you so very much for everything today. And until next show, we are going to get ourselves ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to now hit the button and play our outro.